Okay, so I'm doing something a little different and refocusing my YouTube channel to be more so like documenting my journey on becoming a superstar. So I have decided to kind of do like what it's like videos. So what it's like to shoot a music video, what it's like to record a song, what it's like to prepare for a show and stuff like that. Just something that's more personal and something that will hopefully help people who are aspiring to be artists by giving them my perspective and my experiences, what I'm going through on this whole journey. So, and I really hope that the lighting is decent. The topic of this video is going to be what it's like being a female artist who also happens to be a female engineer. And I'm just kind of going to be rambling and telling you my thoughts and my experiences being an artist who also happens to engineer, and just kind of how people react. So this is a predominantly male dominated industry, right? The whole music industry. So when I get clients, new clients who come into the studio and they see that, well, first of all, I'm the one who lets them in, and then I walk them to the room, and then I sit behind the desk. I sit in the chair in front of the computer to start running Pro Tools, and it's always the same question: "You are engineer?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm your engineer." They'd be like, "Oh shoot, that's dope, that's fire. You a female? That's what's up. That's different." And so for the most part, people really like it. I guess the only time I get annoyed by it is when someone comes in and they see that I'm a female engineer and they ask, "Oh, you sure you know what you're doing?" Or "How long you been engineering?" It's like, bruh, don't worry about all of that. Let's just get through this session. It's not a bad thing when they ask me those questions. It just, I've been engineering for 4 years now, so it's kind of old when people ask that question. I get it. It's really impressive when a girl can engineer because dudes are used to seeing other dudes in the studio, and I think it's nice when they see a female in the studio and not be surrounded by so much testosterone, I guess. Because a lot of these rappers, these artists will come in with an entourage of a bunch of other dudes. So it must be nice to see a female in the room. I'm kind of spoiled in a sense that I have pretty much unlimited access to the studio whenever I want. And not to say that I take advantage of it by staying in the studio 24 hours a day, because I definitely don't. I need that balance. I'm able to go into the studio and work when I feel like I need to work. Of course, I go in there to record when it's time to make money and record. So it's really awesome to be able to have a career or to have a job that is so close to the career that I want. Being an artist who also happens to engineer, it's just, it gives me a lot of access to the studio that I probably wouldn't have if I was just an artist. So I think that I bring value to the studio that I'm at because I'm an engineer and the studio needs engineers. And it's a nice trade-off for me because I can make money doing the behind the scenes work in an industry that I'm wanting to break into, that I'm working to break into. At the same time, having access to the studio when I need it, that gives me free studio time. I don't have to pay for it. It's a nice little exchange that I have going for myself. And so what's really cool about that is I have been able to save so much money by investing in learning the behind the scenes of the industry, or behind the scenes skills that I would need before being able to just jump into being an artist, right? So I went to school. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I've mentioned in my other videos how I've gone to school. I went to the Art Institute of Atlanta for audio production, and I realized very early on that I needed more than just talent to be able to make it in the industry. I also wanted to know the business side of it, and I wanted to know the technical skills for, the people who are behind the scenes, because honestly, it's really hard to become like a Beyonce or a Rihanna or a Tinashe even. It's really hard to break into that. And so I figured that the best way for me to even end up close to being on that caliber, and I still have a long way to go, but the best way for me to prepare myself is to see as much of the behind the scenes as I can, so that when I do make it to that higher level, I will know how certain things go, you know? So it makes me more valuable, and it opens up more doors, because I'm not just a singer, and I may not look it right now, but I'm not just a pretty artist who says she can sing. I offer the value of being able to, if someone were to sign me today, I don't want to say they save money with me because they wouldn't have to pay an engineer, but I mean, I think that's the value in being an engineer, an artist who happens to engineer. If I'm given the opportunity to work by myself, then I can work so much faster because I already have an ear for kind of how my music is supposed to sound, and I'm able to record myself. So if I have an idea, I don't have to wait around to get booked with somebody who's like my favorite engineer, because I am my favorite engineer. I know how I record the best, and I have a little process that I already use to record music. So I think that gives me a lot of value, and it opens up a lot of doors, because when I tell people I'm a singer, songwriter, and audio engineer, I mean, a lot of people have the talent of singing, right? But the last part, I'm an audio engineer, that's like, oh, word, you engineer too? Oh, dope, I need an engineer, or we've been looking for an engineer, or we got an opening for engineers. So it just opens some doors, and I think gives me a kind of leverage over the people who are just artists, because so many people are talented, but I don't want to say not a lot of people are investing in other things outside of their talent. But a lot of people are talented, but it kind of like makes me more noticeable in the minds of other people because of the fact that I engineer as well. The other thing that's cool about being an artist who happens to engineer is I can help other artists who come into the studio, and they might want my expertise on how to sing certain things a certain way, how to convey a certain emotion, how to kind of morph your throat, or, you know, the forming of your mouth to get certain notes, to be able to hit certain sounds. I think people really appreciate that. As me being an artist who happens to engineer, I can relate to the artist side of things. Now, just because I'm an artist who happens to engineer, that doesn't mean that I'm automatically gonna give my critiques to whoever I happen to be engineering that night. I don't think it's my place to do that, because it's not about me. I think I have done a really good job of keeping that balance, as far as making sure that even just because I'm an artist, I'm not making it about me and what I would want to hear from the person in the booth. I'm making it about whoever the artist is that I'm recording. I don't like to make the session about me, because it's not about me. And yeah, it's cool that I'm an artist, which a lot of people really like that. Oh, you engineer, but you're also an artist. I want to hear some of your stuff. And I kind of revert them to, well, yeah, you can hear my stuff after we're done with your time. Or if we have time at the end of the session, we'll listen to my things. And I think people really appreciate that. And I think people really respect that, because I am not trying to make it all about me. I don't need to have the spotlight in that kind of setting, you know? So I think people appreciate my humility in that sense. At least I would like to think they appreciate it anyway. You know, I think that just gives me another leg up on other artists. I've had a lot of clients say that it's nicer having a female engineer because the vibe is just better or more chill or something. I mean, that could be for any female engineer, not just me. But me in particular, I'm a very chill person, and so I like the idea of my clients being more comfortable with me because of the fact that I'm a female and they've had better experiences with female engineers. I don't have an ego when I engineer. I adapt to however that person records. Now, if they're brand new to the whole recording process and it's a little difficult for me to record them the way that I would like to have a session run, then I might try to throw some hints out there. But otherwise, as I said, again, it's not about me. So being an artist, I feel like I can relate better to how an artist might feel stepping into a situation where they have to essentially sing for a stranger. It can be a very nerve-wracking thing. It can be a very scary thing. So when I think about how I get shy if I'm not in front of the right engineer with the right energy, it makes me not want to really do the song, because, you know, it throws off your energy if you don't have the right person in there. And then if you have somebody that's trying to force their views on you, that's trying to force their process on you, it just makes things really tense in the session. I feel like if they're not comfortable with me, then I'm not doing a great job. And the flip side of that is being an artist who happens to engineer. If I do a great job engineering a session for a big time name, then I'm more likely to be recognized in the industry, right? So even though I'm behind the scenes, I'm meeting these big name people who they know my name, they know my face. And when things come full circle, when I eventually make it to that higher level, I think it can only work in my favor that I've been around these people for years now. If you're an artist and you're thinking about, how you're going to make it in this game, I think my advice to you would be to don't get too hung up on just the artist aspect of it. There are so many things that you can do within the music industry. If you can find a way to be in the industry doing something that you're good at, not just what you are gifted with, not just with your talent, what your talent is. If you can find something that gets you in the door, then why not try to develop that? I used to have this fear too, being an engineer, that people would only see me as an engineer. They wouldn't really see me as an artist. But something that's really cool about being an artist who engineers is when people need, and also being a female engineer, like when people need background vocals or they need a female voice on the song, I can just inject myself into that situation. And if they like it, if they keep it on the song, then my voice has just traveled somewhere else that I wasn't even expecting it to go. When somebody needs a female voice, I just happen to be the engineer who can sing. It comes off very nicely. And then people like to pay me a little extra for that. So yeah, find something within the industry that you can do that will kind of get your foot in the door, and at least will get your face in front of the people who are potentially going to be major players in your career when you get closer to the level that you want to get to. Don't feel like that you only have to sing, or you only have to dance, or you only have to act. Whatever your art form is, if you can find something within the realm of your industry, why not put yourself into that space so that you have a higher chance of having people recognize who you are and having people recognize your work? Because if you've been working in the background for a long time and people have been seeing your consistency and your work ethic, then it can only work in your favor in the future. Don't worry about, people stamping you as one thing within your industry. Just do a great job. No matter what it is that you're doing in the background, do a great job at whatever it is you're doing. In my mind, everything's gonna come back full circle. So I wanna try to do the best that I possibly can. Like, I'm not gonna worry about, oh, I'm an artist, so I don't wanna do this because I don't want people to think that this is all I am. No, I'm gonna do my best that I can. So when people hear the name LexC, they know that it's associated with great work. It's associated with quality. It's associated with a great sound, a great voice, professional attitude. I think if you're not willing to put yourself on that lower level behind the scenes, then you could potentially be blocking your blessings. And you don't want to have that kind of attitude of, I should be doing so much more, so I don't want to do this right now. I think that's the wrong attitude to have. You should be doing all that you can do with what you have right now until you can do all that you want to do when you get more things along the line. So you don't want to have an attitude just because you're not doing exactly what you thought you would be doing. You always want to make sure that no matter what it is you're doing, put your best stamp on it, because that's what people are going to associate with you. And that's how people are going to judge you. When it's time for you to be on that bigger platform, they're going to judge you by the things you did when you weren't as noticed. Those are my thoughts on what it's like being a female artist who also happens to be a female engineer. If you like this video and you like the content that you heard and some of the tips that were mentioned in this video, then please give me a big thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. As always, let me know if you want to hear anything specific, any commentary or my thoughts on certain things in the industry, or music, or personal things that are close to me. Whatever you have questions about, you can leave those questions in the comment section down below, or you can email me at info@lexcatl.com and I'll be happy to help you. But until next time, peace. Command S is saving a session. Command S means save. So any changes that you make, I think you should get into the habit of automatically pressing Command S. As soon as you make a change, Command S. Another change, Command S. So that's the first short key. The next short key is Command and the